Hi again. On last week's live, I discussed a concept from Ron Cawthon, the 6 levels of customer service. And I highly recommend you look Ron up because when it comes to customer service, he's got some absolutely awesome content. What I want to do today is I want to expand on what we talked about last week and explore something that is often overlooked in far too many businesses. And I think it's overlooked because we allow the word good to precede the words customer service. I'm going to suggest that if you can ditch the word good and replace it with something like outstanding or wow, exceptional or unbelievable, that you can transform the results that you achieve in your business. And an added bonus is if you apply what I'm going to share today, it will give you the foundations for building a referral-based business, which means much lower marketing costs, therefore more profit. Happy days. So let's get into this. What I need to do is I need to move me out of the way and that banner. And can someone let me know in the comments that you can see the presentation? So that should be the banner gone. And you should now be able to see the presentation. Someone just let me know if they can. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Okay, so in my humble opinion, I believe this quote should be plastered around the staff rooms and around the back of house of every company on the planet. Because when you see the costs involved in losing customers, it's going to blow your mind. And I'm going to suggest that as a business owner, we want to shift our thinking to having a lifetime view of customers and think about it as being a marriage made in heaven. And every single person in your company needs to understand the value of that relationship. In this presentation, I'd like to take you through a process and give you some tips for how you can increase the lifetime value for every single one of your customers, which will mean you're going to make lots more profit and have a lot less headaches. I'm going to position the principle by using the supermarket as an example. And a married couple who've been married for 45 years. I'm going to say that during their marriage, have exclusively shopped at Sainsbury's. On average, over the years, they estimate they've spent £100 per week on groceries, which is around about £5,000 per year. And because they've been married for 45 years, that means, believe it or not, their £100 per week equates to them spending £225,000 in Sainsbury's so far. Now, something interesting to consider is how many staff at the supermarket think, wow, there's a £225,000 customer. I'd better give them some exceptional service. And I also wonder if they knew this information, what difference it would make to how they treat our couple and the service that our couple would receive. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to jot down what is your average customer lifetime value. Now, some of you might be thinking, I'll do it later. But later is code for never. And the truth is, as a business owner, you should know this figure. In actual fact, let me change that. As a professional business owner, you should know this figure. Now, some businesses say their customers don't have lifetime value, but I want to challenge that thinking. Think about something like someone who sells cars. The average person changes their car every 2 to 3 years. That's potentially 17 to 26 cars in a lifetime. Or you could have a holiday company. Now, if a customer gets holidays or goes on holiday just once a year, that's potentially 50 holidays over a lifetime. If they travel to Europe from the UK, that would average out around 50 times £700 or £35,000 over a lifetime. So what I invite you to do is think about your business and roughly calculate your customer's lifetime value. What would their value be to you over a lifetime if they only ever used your business for the product or the service that you provide? And for those of you who are perfectionists, get out your own way here. The figure you're coming up with is a rough figure. and you can dig into it deeper and more accurately at a later date. So I'll give you 30 seconds on the clock to create that figure. What is the potential lifetime value of your customers? You don't need to put them in the chat. You can put them in the chat if you want to, but you don't need to put them in the chat. Okay, let's move on. Now, what you've got now is a baseline figure. And now you can get busy working on strategies to improve that number. Now, something worthwhile considering is and it's going to make a huge difference to the results you achieve in your business, is if you shift your thinking from how satisfied your customers are to how many satisfied customers you keep. Shift from how satisfied your customers are to how many satisfied customers you keep. Now, throughout the presentation, I'm going to be using our imaginary couple's baseline grocery shopping figure of £225,000. And you can use the figure that you just calculated, and you're going to see just how much money you might be leaving on the table. Now, one of the big questions is, how do you keep your customers loyal? And I'm going to suggest there are 7 headline types of customer loyalty. The first one is incentive loyalty, things like loyalty cards, air miles, etc. Then we've got inertia loyalty, which is where it's made difficult to change suppliers. Think in terms of water companies or utilities, mobile phone companies, where we're often treated more like hostages than we are like customers. Then we've got lazy loyalty. And that's where the customers just can't be bothered getting off the backside to find another supplier. Monopoly loyalty is where there's a lack of an alternative. Think in terms of British Gas or the Post Office. Then we've got price loyalty, which is dangerous because if customers are only loyal to price, they're not going to be loyal when they're offered a lower price. Then we've got trend loyalty, things like Nike, Tag watches, BMW cars come to mind. There's lots more. And then we have Nirvana, the one we all want to aim for, which is true loyalty. And it's where customers remain loyal to you even when they've got lots of your competition knocking on their door. And they will have lots of your competition knocking on their door. And there's a formula for customer loyalty. There's always formulas, isn't there? And it's a multiplication rather than an addition, because 0 in any of the 3 components will neutralize the other components. So satisfaction is the starting point. If customers are not satisfied with the product or the service they're getting, loyalty is never going to happen, is it? The customer must perceive that what they're receiving is what they were promised, and it's the very least as good as what they can get elsewhere. Then we've got involvement, and that is how much financially and emotionally they have reinvested in the relationship. So as business owners, we need to have strong relational links with our customers so that they're not going to want to break the link. And we can achieve that by treating our customers as if they were part of our business, because in truth they are. You know, they should be on our org chart because they are part of our gang. Treat them like insiders. That means constantly checking in with them for their opinions to see if we're getting things right. Then we've got affinity. That's how customers feel emotionally about your brand in comparison to any would-be alternative. And everybody in your company needs to understand this, because if you can get all 3 of the above, your customers more likely know they're dealing with a company that genuinely has their interests at heart. Now, from a customer's perspective, how they see service is, firstly, it's toxic, which is being totally apathetic and disengaged from the customer point of view. And this occurs, sadly, in about 30% of businesses. Then we've got average type service, which is the norm for about 30% of businesses. People are going through the motions. For example, you might be getting false smiles. You know it's not genuine, and you sometimes get the impression you're just spoiling their day by coming into the store. Then we've got good, Good service is what most people think they get there where they are, and it accounts for about 25% of businesses. And that probably happens because they go above and beyond occasionally, but it lacks consistency. Put your teeth in, Kev. And then we've got great. And the great level is in about 12% of businesses, and in these businesses, excellent is the focus. And it shows because what's happening in these businesses is happening by design, not by accident. And then you've got exceptional, the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. An exceptional or outstanding or wow or unbelievable it only happens in about 3% of businesses. It's worth pointing out that if you want a referral-based business, then you need to be serving at those top two levels, great and exceptional. And the added bonus is that when you're operating from those top two layers, there isn't much in the way of competition, is there? Look at the percentages. Now we're going to look at how you can increase your customer loyalty, and we're going to focus in on 3 different types of customers: a delighted customer, a satisfied customer, and a dissatisfied customers. Now, there are other types of customers. For instance, you may have heard of raving fans, and there are also terrorists, people who've had what they perceive to be poor service and want to pay you back. They've got a lose-lose or a win-lose mentality. But our focus here today is on the 3 types of customers: delighted, satisfied, and dissatisfied. So let's start with a satisfied customer, because I would suggest this is the bar that's considered okay or the norm by most businesses. Now, if you were to survey the customers of these businesses, they would say things like, yeah, they're okay, I suppose. Effectively, you get a satisfied customer when what you provide equals what you promised or what they expected. And if the companies only aspire to have satisfied customers, and when they advertise, and they were to be really truthful in their advertising, their ads would look something like this. Blogs & Co., your local OK supplier. Blogs & Co., buy from us, our service is all right. Blogs & Co., this is the place to shop. We're no better and we're no worse than our competitors. So you need to make it clear to everybody in your company that a satisfied customer is never the goal. It's also worth considering that up to 50% of satisfied customers will more than likely be customers of your competition in a really short space of time. And what are the chances of getting a referral from a satisfied customer? Not much, but let's say, for instance, 50% of satisfied customers stick with you and they give you 4 referrals over their lifetime. Let's look at how that would look to our supermarket, Sainsbury's. So they now get our couple's original spend plus 4 more referrals. They could spend like our couple and refer others. And that means our couple's value to Sainsbury's is now £1,125,000 just from meeting expectations. £1,125,000 just from meeting expectations. Remember, it's not important how satisfied your customers are, it's how many satisfied customers you keep. Now, using that same criteria you can see on that slide there, calculate yours. I'll give you 30 seconds to do that. Brilliant. Okay. Moving on then. A real danger to all of us is something that can really harm our business, and that is a dissatisfied customer. And you get dissatisfied customers because what you provide is less than what they were promised, or what less than what the customer expected. Well, just let that sink in. You get a dissatisfied customer when what you provide is less than what you promised or what the customer expected. Now think about how many times this has happened to you as a shopper. And what you'll realise is this is pretty common in business, but the cost is huge because it's been estimated that a dissatisfied customer will first stop purchasing, or they'll start looking for an alternative supplier. They'll tell 9 to 10 people about their negative experience, which is 2 to 3 times more than a satisfied customer giving referrals. They'll spread the news about their experience to other customers. And guess what? They're likely to exaggerate the news. And that gives your competition vital information about that they can use against you. And they don't tell you, so you don't even know it's happened. As little as 1 in 25 cases of dissatisfaction get reported. And up to 90% of them just never come back. Now, all the above effects are as a result of just one dissatisfied customer. And if you have a smaller business, the quicker you're going to feel those effects of a dissatisfied customer. And what you have to realize is the negative effects and cost that this will have for absolutely any business. Now, because a dissatisfied customer is a source of negative advertising, and the effects can be dramatic. Just look what happened to Ratner's the Jewellers. A slip of the tongue by Gerald Ratner cost Ratner's Jewellers £500 million overnight. Then you've got Perrier water. They had negative publicity about impurities in their water, and that resulted in them on recall 160 million bottles of water. Sadly for Perrier, it was later proven to be untrue. But we all need to realise that a dissatisfied customer could be a potential danger or potential disaster for any company. I just want to show you a quick video, and it's a clip. It's a bit of fun, but it's got a serious message to it, and it's based on a true story. And this was a song that was written by a disgruntled passenger of United Airlines. So I'm just going to find the click buttons, how I'll get it to start.
Connecting in Chicago's O'Hare. While on the ground, the passenger said from the seat behind me, "My God, they're throwing guitars out there." The band and I exchanged a look, best described as terror, at the action on the tarmac, and knowing whose projectiles these would be. So before I left Chicago, I alerted 3 employees who showed complete indifference towards me. United, you broke my Taylor guitar. United, some big help you are. You broke and you should fix it. Your line just admitted. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars. When we landed in Nebraska, I confirmed what I suspected. My Taylor had been the victim of a vicious act of malice at O'Hare. So began a year-long saga of pass the buck, don't ask me, and I'm sorry, sir, your claim can go nowhere. So do all the airlines people from New York to New Delhi, including kind Miss Earlwig, who says the final word for them is no. I've heard all your excuses, and I've chased your wild gooses. And this attitude of yours, I say, must go. United, you broke my Taylor guitar. United, some big help you are. You broke and you should fix it. Your line just admitted. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars. Well, I won't say that I'll never fly with you again, 'cause maybe to save the world I probably would. That look like we haven't, and if it did, I wouldn't bring my luggage, 'cause you'd just go and break it into 1,000 pieces, just like you broke my heart when United breaks guitars. United, you broke my Taylor guitar. United, some big help you are. You broke it, you should fix it. You're liable just admit it. I should have flown with someone else or gone by car. 'Cause United breaks guitars. Yeah, United breaks guitars. Yeah, United breaks guitars.
Pretty funny, eh? But it wasn't so funny for United Airlines. After that video was released, their stock price fell $180 million overnight. I believe it would have cost them around about £3,000 or $3,000, sorry, to replace the guitar. Now, to any business, the potential cost could be the original relationship plus 9 negative referrals. You lose the original customer and they go away and tell 9 other potential customers negative stories about you, which means the people they tell that story to are unlikely to become future customers. As you can see in this example of our supermarket, the losses are devastating. 2.25 million, sorry. So what I want you to do now is, I'll give you 30 seconds to calculate yours. What could be the cost to your business of a negative customer? Some people are putting the figures into the chat, and they're pretty large, aren't they? Scary. Okay. A quick question worthwhile is, why don't people report dissatisfaction? So, and the reasons are, many customers don't feel comfortable complaining. They're embarrassed to complain. Then we've got expectation. They don't think the supplier will do anything about the complaint. They've got fear. Customers feel that the supplier might make things a little bit more difficult for them in the future if they do complain. There's inertia. It's often easier for the customer to just go somewhere else in the future and not bother with complaining. Then we've got indifference. The customer doesn't care enough about the supplier's product or service to make the effort to complain. And then we've got ignorance. The customer isn't aware to complain, or that the supplier actually wants them to complain. And I believe we have to rethink our beliefs in and around complaining customers. Now, if you think back in the days, Marks and Spencer's here in the UK, they had an outstanding reputation for complaint handling. In recent years, that's become less outstanding, so has their profitability. And the truth is, in business, we need more complaints, not less. Our message needs to be something like, we want your complaints. We all get things wrong occasionally. We don't want to do that, but it happens. And it's how we react when we get it wrong that's the most important thing. Now, this guy here is Fergal Quinn, and he built the Irish supermarket chain Super Quinn, which started out as just one small corner shop. And here's number one tip to when asked for the number one tip on business was to listen to your customers, especially the silent customers, because it's only a matter of time before your silent customers become your competitors' customers. What he would do was he would sit behind his own checkouts to get feedback from his customers. And he also had a number of customer focus groups where the agenda was quite simply, give us all your gripes. Now, Quinn sold his business in 2005 for £450 million. That equates to about 700 million today. So gathering customer complaints sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Another supermarket that gets this right is Stu Leonard's over in the States, which has the biggest turnover per square foot in food retail on this planet. Now, he has a huge granite rock outside every single store, which has two rules in it. Rule 1, the customer's always right. Rule 2, if the customer's ever wrong, reread Rule 1. Name a store that you know like that, that's willing to take that risk. And I think people think it's a risk because everybody is going to, although their perception is everybody's going to rip them off. But if that's the case, how come Stu Leonard's store makes £600 million a year? Sorry, $600 million a year. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and you can create complaints. What I do suggest is you go out and you find those customers who haven't complained yet so that you can recover them and turn them into long-lasting customers. And when you do get it wrong, and you will, we all will, a quick and easy way or quick and easy anagram for dealing with complaints is Sarah, which means the S is stop talking. Never interrupt them or talk over them because you're going to annoy the customer even more. So you're listening, not speaking. Make eye contact, have no distractions, and ask quality questions. Then repeat back or paraphrase. So you could be, let me see I've got this right. X, Y, and Z happened. No, have I missed anything? And then you match their feelings with your feelings. Match their emotions with emotions. Respond in a similar manner. By what you can do is put yourself in their shoes and see it from their point of view. How would I feel if this was me? And then finally, use your knowledge about your product or service to find a mutually acceptable solution. Now, some suggestions for what you consider putting things into action here is, firstly, calculate the potential worth of your business or to your business of a satisfied and dissatisfied customer, and then broadcast those figures to all your team. Seek out and remove all the possible causes of customer satisfaction. Make yours a very unusual business and create systems to gather all your customer complaints. And teach all your frontline staff the SARA formula that I've just shown you to help deal professionally with difficult complaining customers. And make sure you're not one of those customers that treats its allies, which are complaining customers, as if they were enemies. Now let's think about the game changer, delighted customers. And what is a delighted customer? It's when what you provide is greater than what you promised or what they expected. To delight your customers, all you need to understand is that delight equals expectation plus as little as 1%. And never underestimate the power of just 1%. And that can be simple as one more smile, one more additional item, which might be something like a thank you card, a bit more personal contact, a bit more thoughtfulness, one extra minute of your time, one telephone call to ensure the customer's happy, or whatever, anything that will delight your customers. The best criteria for these plus ones is to make sure they are instantly noticed and valued by your customers. They're quick and easy for you to do, and they cost you little and sometimes nothing to implement. Now, this guy here is Jan Carlson, and he's a Swedish businessman who was most noted for being the CEO of Swedish Airports, the SAS Group. And he would talk about the moments of truth for his customers. And the moments of truth were every touch point a customer had with his business. So in the airline business, it was as soon as a passenger steps off the plane and into a walkway, and then all the way through to leaving the airport, be that getting a taxi or getting into their own car. And he suggested that you should consider every moment of truth from your customer's journey using your 5 senses. How do things look when dealing with your business through your customer's eyes? Is everything clean? Is everything tidy? Is everything organised? What about the smells? What are the aromas like in your business? Consider some of the things like overpowering aftershave or overpowering perfume, or even the smell of your toilets. Sounds. What are the sounds going on in your business? Is there loud music? Or even worse, is there competing music going on in your business? Tastes. Do you provide things like tea and coffee? And if you do, does it taste like what your customer wants it to taste like? Do you provide biscuits? Are they top quality biscuits? Touch. Think about how clean your services are to touch, but also think about the effects that a limp handshake can have on someone. Now, if anybody wants this slide, by the way, just reach out and I'll send it over to you. And this is the customer walk for visitors to a company called Westpac. And Westpac are a company that get this whole concept dead right. So they've mapped out their customer journey from arriving in a car to leaving the car park at the end of a visit. And they've asked, what would the customer expect? And then how could we wow them at each and every stage of every moment of truth? So you might not be able to read this, but I'll read it. At step 3 on that map, when you arrive in your car, they thought about, what if the weather isn't so good? And so when you arrive, you're undercover, and your car will then be taken away from you and valet parked. So you're never going to be exposed to the elements. And then at step 13, when you get your car, go to get your car back, it's delivered to you, but it's also been cleaned and valeted inside and out. Now that's a wow. That is exceptional service. And every bullet point on this map will have a system and a process behind it that everybody who's responsible for delivering that step will have been trained to within an inch of their lives. So a question for you is, what's stopping you from doing the same in your business? Now, you might be thinking, is it really worthwhile? You bet it is. A delighted customer can't wait to tell people about the experience. It's been estimated that they're going to tell at least 17 to 20 people over their lifetime. So if Sainsbury's could delight our couple, the customer relationship is now worth £4.5 million. £4.5 million. £100 per week customer is now a £4.5 million customer. Now calculate yours. So, what could be your next steps? So, as a suggestion, what I would do, or I would suggest, is you get together with your team. If you're a team of one, then you're brainstorming on your own, but you could get a friend to help you or a family member, and then map out your customer's walk and all their moments of truth. And ask, if I or we were customers of this business, what would we be expecting at this stage? And once you got those answers, now you can step it up and ask, what can we do to consistently wow at every stage? What can we do to consistently wow every stage? And then systemize and train the hell out of it. Easy peasy. It only works, so give it a go. Take this from theory to practice to mastery today, not someday, because it will help you close the gap between where you are now and where you prefer to be. And you will thank me later. Now, if you enjoyed this live, give it a like and add it a comment below and share it with someone you know will benefit from watching it. Now you go make it happen.